Open the door. Let God come in.
When everything around me whispers stop and the road feels narrow with closed doors and unanswered prayers, I come to you with a heart that is tired of hearing no from the world, but still sensitive enough to recognize your quiet yes. Because even when fear raises its voice and doubt crowds the air, there is something steady rising inside me that knows you are not confused about my path. You are not late with your timing, and you are not intimidated by resistance. You see beyond the walls I see. You feel the weight I carry, and you understand the hesitation that settles in my chest when obedience costs more than comfort. Yet your presence feels like a gentle hand on my back, telling me that permission does not come from people. It comes from you. And when you say go, it is not reckless but rooted, not impulsive but intentional, not loud but deeply certain. So in this moment I lean closer and invite you to walk with me into this uncertainty, trusting that even if everything around me says no, your voice will always lead me where grace is already waiting. I breathe slowly as I stay here with you, feeling the tension between what is familiar and what is calling me forward. Because obedience often feels lonely before it feels right. And the hardest part is not moving, but letting go of the need to be understood. I admit that sometimes I want signs that convince everyone else, approvals that silence critics, confirmations that remove all risk. Yet you keep teaching me that faith grows strongest when it stands without applause, when it moves without guarantees, when it trusts your character more than the outcome. And in this quiet space, you remind me that every step of courage I take was already seen by you long before I gathered the strength to move, that your go carries provision hidden along the way, wisdom unfolding in motion, and peace that only shows up once the first step is taken. So as my heart trembles and hope flickers like a small flame in the dark, I open myself and invite you to steady my steps, believing that following you forward is safer than standing still in fear. As I keep listening, I realize that your voice does not compete with the noise but rises above it with calm authority. And even when rejection echoes from every direction, your direction carries a peace that does not argue or explain itself. It simply settles deep within me and calls me onward. You know how heavy it feels to walk while carrying memories of past failures, missed chances, and moments when I stepped out before and felt exposed. Yet you do not shame me for hesitating now. You gently remind me that growth always feels unfamiliar before it feels natural, and that the road marked by your will is rarely crowded because it requires trust more than agreement. So when my mind lists all the reasons to stay where I am and my heart feels torn between safety and surrender, I pause here and invite you to quiet every other voice, choosing to believe that when you say go, you are already standing in the place I am afraid to reach. I notice how resistance often disguises itself as wisdom, how fear dresses up as caution and tries to sound responsible. Yet you see straight through it and still speak life into my hesitation, reminding me that not every closed door is protection, and not every open door is permission, but your word cuts through confusion with clarity that feels both gentle and firm. You know the nights when I replay conversations and imagine different outcomes, wondering if obedience will cost relationships, stability, or the version of myself that feels accepted. And still, you stay patient with my questions, never rushing me but never withdrawing. Your call, teaching me that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move while carrying it. So in the middle of my doubts and unfinished faith, I lean in and invite you to strengthen my resolve, trusting that every step aligned with your voice will shape me into someone who can carry what you are preparing to give. There are moments when silence feels louder than answers, when waiting stretches my faith thin and I wonder if I misunderstood you or imagined your call. Yet even in the quiet you remain present, teaching me that delay is not denial, and stillness is not abandonment. You are working beneath the surface where I cannot see, aligning timing, softening hearts, and preparing me for what obedience will require. And I begin to see that your no to my comfort is often a yes to my growth. Your no to my control is a yes to my trust. And your no to my expectations is a yes to something far deeper than I planned. So when impatience rises and comparison tries to rush me forward or pull me backward, I slow my breathing and invite you to anchor my heart again, believing that if you ask me to go, you will also teach me how to endure the space between the promise and the fulfillment. As I reflect on the path behind me, I realize that every time I obeyed you without full understanding, something inside me quietly expanded. And even when the outcome did not look like success to others, my spirit learned to recognize your faithfulness in deeper ways. You never wasted a single step, not the ones taken with confidence, nor the ones taken with trembling knees. And you gently remind me that obedience is not about arriving quickly, but about becoming ready. Because what you are leading me into must be carried by a heart shaped through trust, not haste. So when I feel pressure to prove myself, to justify my movement, or to explain why I am choosing faith over familiarity, I pause and invite you to be my reassurance, resting in the truth that walking with you is already enough validation, even before the destination comes into view. I sense how deeply you care about the parts of me that are afraid to be seen while moving forward, the vulnerable places that worry about being judged for trying again, believing again, risking again. And you do not rush past those feelings but sit with me in them, reminding me that you are not disappointed by my questions or threatened by my weakness. Because it is in these fragile moments that your strength feels closest, your reassurance feels personal, and your guidance feels tender rather than demanding. And I begin to understand that your go is not a push into danger, but an invitation into deeper trust, where my dependence on you becomes more real than my need for certainty. So as my heart steadies and my spirit listens, I open myself and invite you to keep shaping my courage, knowing that every step taken with you carries purpose even when the outcome is still unseen. Sometimes the hardest resistance comes from within, from the familiar patterns that feel safe even when they no longer fit who you are shaping me to be. And I confess that comfort can quietly become a cage when it keeps me from responding to your call, yet you never accuse me. You patiently reveal how staying still can slowly dim the fire you placed in my spirit, and how obedience, even when uncomfortable, awakens life and restores alignment. You remind me that I was not created to shrink myself to fit fear or to negotiate with doubt when your direction is clear. And even when my strength feels inconsistent, your faithfulness remains constant. So in this moment of honest surrender, I invite you to loosen my grip on what feels familiar, trusting that what you are leading me toward will stretch me without breaking me and will reveal more of who you are along the way. I begin to notice how your guidance often comes as a quiet knowing rather than dramatic confirmation, a steady sense that does not shout but gently insists. And even when logic struggles to keep up, my spirit recognizes truth when it hears it. You understand how easily I second-guess myself, replaying your words through the lens of past disappointments and unresolved fears. Yet you continue to meet me with patience, reminding me that discernment grows through relationship, not perfection, and that trusting you does not mean never questioning but choosing you, even when questions remain. So when uncertainty tries to slow my steps and hesitation whispers that I am not ready yet, I soften my heart and invite you to deepen my trust, believing that readiness is often discovered in motion, not before it. As the journey unfolds, I become aware that obedience reshapes my identity in quiet ways, teaching me that who I am becoming matters as much as where I am going. And even when progress feels slow or invisible, you are attentive to every inner shift, every surrendered thought, every moment I choose faith over fear. You know how often I measure success by speed or recognition, yet you gently redirect my focus toward faithfulness, showing me that lasting strength is built in unseen places, where roots grow deep enough to hold future weight. And in this space, I feel you inviting me to release the pressure to perform and simply remain present with you. So I pause my striving and invite you to keep aligning my heart with yours, trusting that moving at your pace will always carry me exactly where I need to be. There are days when the path feels longer than expected, and the enthusiasm that once fueled me grows quiet. Yet even then, your presence does not fade. It becomes steadier, deeper, more sustaining than excitement ever was. You teach me that commitment outlasts emotion, and that obedience rooted in love will carry me farther than passion alone. And when fatigue whispers that turning back would be easier than pressing on, you remind me of how far I have already come and how gently you have held me through every step. So in the middle of weariness and wavering resolve, I slow down and invite you to renew my strength, trusting that the same voice that told me to go will also give me the endurance to keep moving forward. I start to recognize that every no I heard along the way was shaping discernment rather than rejection, teaching me to distinguish between voices that limit and the voice that liberates. And even when disappointment left its mark, you used it to sharpen my hearing and soften my dependence on approval. You know how easily discouragement tries to rewrite my story, convincing me that resistance means failure, yet you gently reframe it as preparation, showing me that endurance is not passive waiting but active trust, lived out step by step. So when old doubts resurface and try to slow my momentum, I settle my heart again and invite you to remind me why I began, trusting that the reason you called me forward is still alive and still unfolding, even now. With each step forward, I feel how obedience slowly retrains my heart to listen more than it reacts, to trust more than it resists, and to rest even while moving, because you are not just leading me somewhere new, you are teaching me how to walk differently altogether. You know how easily I can rush ahead or lag behind, driven by fear of missing out or fear of failing again. Yet you keep drawing me back to a steady rhythm that feels safe because it is guided by you, not by pressure or comparison. And I begin to understand that your go is not a demand for speed but an invitation into alignment, where my pace matches your presence and my steps reflect your peace. So in this quiet awareness, I invite you to keep tuning my heart to your timing, trusting that moving with you, even slowly, is far better than running ahead without you. As I move further into what you have asked of me, I notice how my dependence on constant reassurance begins to loosen, replaced by a quieter confidence rooted in knowing you are with me. And even when circumstances remain uncertain, my spirit feels less fragile and more anchored than before. You are teaching me that faith matures when it learns to stand without constant signs, to breathe without immediate answers, and to trust without needing to see the whole picture at once. And you know how this stretches me beyond my comfort, but never beyond your care, because every unknown step is still held within your awareness. So when the future feels undefined and my plans feel incomplete, I pause in this sacred space and invite you to remind me again that obedience is not about control, but about companionship, walking with you one faithful step at a time. I am learning that following you forward often means trusting you with outcomes I cannot manage, releasing the urge to predict how things will unfold or how others will respond. And this surrender feels both freeing and unsettling at the same time, because control once felt like safety, even when it quietly drained my peace. Yet, you are patiently showing me that true security is found in staying close to you, not in securing predictable results. You know how deeply I want things to make sense before I move, how I crave clarity before commitment, but you keep reminding me that clarity often comes after obedience, not before it, and that faith is built by walking through the fog with your hand rather than waiting for the fog to lift. So when uncertainty tightens my chest and the future feels unformed and fragile, I lean into this moment and invite you to teach me how to trust you beyond understanding, believing that your presence is more reliable than any plan I could design. I begin to see how obedience reshapes my prayers, how they shift from asking you to change circumstances into asking you to change me, because as I walk where you lead, my heart starts to value alignment more than answers and faithfulness more than relief. You know how often I once prayed for escape from difficulty, yet now I sense you inviting me to remain present, to stay soft, and to keep listening even when the road feels demanding. And in this staying, I discover that you are not only ahead of me, but beside me, attentive to every breath and every unspoken fear, reminding me that growth often feels uncomfortable because it stretches places that have been protected for too long. So, as this awareness settles gently within me, I open my heart and invite you to continue refining my trust, believing that becoming who you are forming matters deeply to you, even more than the speed of my arrival. There is a quiet strength beginning to rise where fear once dominated my thoughts, and I recognize it not as confidence in myself, but as confidence in your steadiness, because even when my emotions fluctuate and my resolve feels uneven, your presence remains unwavering. You know how fragile my faith can feel on days when progress is slow and opposition feels close, yet you never withdraw your call or lessen your nearness. Instead, you meet me with reassurance that does not depend on my performance, teaching me that obedience is sustained not by willpower, but by relationship, by staying close enough to hear you breathe peace into my restless heart. So when old anxieties try to reclaim their place and remind me of everything that could go wrong, I pause again and invite you to fill this space with calm trust, believing that every step taken with you is already grounded in grace. I am becoming more aware that your invitation to go is also an invitation to trust you with my vulnerability, to allow myself to be seen without armor as I move forward, because obedience exposes places I once kept hidden, places that fear wanted to protect but grace wants to heal. And you never use my openness against me. You meet it with gentleness and care, reminding me that I do not have to be fearless to be faithful. I only need to stay responsive to your voice, even when my steps feel small and my confidence feels thin. And as I walk this path with a softer heart and open hands, I sense you drawing closer in the spaces where I once felt alone. So in this tender awareness, I slow my thoughts and invite you to guard my heart as I continue, trusting that where you lead me, you will also protect what matters most within me. As the distance grows between who I was and who I am becoming, I notice how your guidance keeps me grounded when change feels unsettling, reminding me that transformation is rarely comfortable, but always purposeful when it flows from your hand. You understand how unfamiliar growth can feel, how it can create tension between old habits and new obedience. Yet you never rush the process or demand perfection. You simply stay present, steady, and patient, allowing me to adjust one step at a time. And even when I feel caught between longing and uncertainty, your presence reassures me that I am not losing myself. I am being refined, shaped into something stronger and more aligned with your heart. So as questions rise and clarity unfolds slowly, I pause within this becoming and invite you to keep leading me gently, trusting that every change you allow is preparing me for the place where your go is leading me next. I realize now that obedience is teaching me to listen for you even when the outcome remains hidden, to stay attentive when progress feels subtle and rewards feel distant, because you are not shaping me for applause but for depth, for roots that hold when winds rise and seasons change. You know how easily I once measured success by visible results. Yet you patiently redirect my vision toward inner steadiness, showing me that what lasts longest is often built quietly, away from recognition. And as I walk forward without needing immediate confirmation, I feel a deeper peace settling in my spirit, a peace that does not depend on circumstances aligning, but on your presence remaining close. So in this steady unfolding, I breathe deeply and invite you to keep my heart attentive, trusting that every unseen step of obedience is already known and valued by you. Even as my steps grow steadier, I recognize how easily pride can creep in, tempting me to believe that progress came from my own strength rather than your sustaining grace. Yet you gently pull my attention back to humility, reminding me that every ounce of courage I carry was first breathed into me by you, and that staying close matters more than standing tall. You know how subtle self-reliance can feel like maturity, yet you lovingly show me that dependence on you is not weakness but wisdom, a posture that keeps my heart soft and my hearing clear. So when confidence rises and tries to replace surrender, I slow my pace and invite you to keep my spirit teachable, trusting that walking with you in humility will always keep me aligned with the purpose you are unfolding before me. As I continue forward, I become aware that obedience is not a single brave moment, but a series of quiet yeses repeated when no one is watching, and you see each one, even the smallest choices that feel insignificant to others but costly to me. You understand how tiring it can be to stay faithful without visible reward, to keep moving when affirmation is scarce and progress feels slow. Yet you keep reminding me that faithfulness accumulates power in hidden ways, shaping endurance, integrity, and a heart that remains steady under pressure. And in this slow building, you teach me that consistency is its own form of courage, a daily decision to trust you again and again. So when weariness whispers that it would be easier to stop trying or to settle for less than what you spoke, I take a quiet breath and invite you to renew my commitment, believing that every unseen step of obedience is quietly carrying me closer to what you have already prepared. I sense how obedience has begun to soften my resistance to uncertainty, teaching me that not knowing everything no longer has to feel like danger when I know who is walking with me. And even when outcomes remain undefined, my heart feels less anxious and more grounded than before. You are patiently showing me that faith does not eliminate questions, but teaches me how to carry them without letting them rule my steps. You know how often my mind wants resolution while my spirit needs reassurance, and you faithfully provide what my soul needs most in each moment. So when unanswered questions resurface and try to slow my obedience, I quiet my thoughts and invite you to replace restlessness with trust, believing that walking forward with you is already a complete answer, even before clarity arrives. As I stand here now, aware that the journey has reshaped me more than I expected, I sense how obedience has become less about proving faith and more about living from it, a quiet alignment that steadies my soul even when circumstances remain unresolved. You know how the weight of expectation once felt heavy, how the pressure to succeed or justify my steps tried to steal the joy of simply following you. Yet you have patiently led me into a deeper freedom, where trust feels lighter than control ever did. And I begin to understand that your go was never about rushing toward an outcome, but about drawing me closer to your heart along the way. So as anticipation and uncertainty meet within me, I slow my thoughts and invite you to keep my spirit attentive, trusting that staying near your voice matters more than knowing what comes next. I feel a deeper calm settling into my obedience now, not because every question has been answered, but because my heart has learned where to rest while answers take time. And I recognize that this peace did not come from certainty, but from proximity to you, from staying close enough to trust your tone, even when I cannot trace the road ahead. You know how unfamiliar this kind of peace once felt, how I mistook anxiety for responsibility and tension for readiness. Yet you have gently retrained my spirit to move without panic and to listen without rushing, showing me that when you say go, you also provide the stillness needed to hear you along the way. So as I stand between what was and what will be, I open my hands and invite you to keep guiding my steps, trusting that this quiet confidence growing within me is evidence that you are leading me exactly where I need to be. Standing at this threshold where trust has grown quieter and deeper, I sense how your voice now feels woven into my steps rather than separate from them, and I understand that every no I heard along the way was never stronger than your go. It was only shaping my listening, refining my surrender, and teaching my heart where true authority lives. You have carried me through hesitation, fatigue, uncertainty, and unseen growth, and now there is a gentle confidence resting in my spirit that does not rush or prove itself. It simply abides, knowing you are faithful, knowing you are near, knowing you finish what you begin. And as I look ahead without fear and behind without regret, I pause here and invite you to seal this journey with your peace, asking that your blessing would rest softly over every step taken in faith, that your presence would continue to guide and guard the path ahead, and that your grace would cover me with calm assurance, strength for tomorrow, and a deep, unshakable knowing that wherever I go, you go with me, and that is more than enough.
Breathe for a moment. God is here. He wants to hear you. If this touched your heart, subscribe for more.